Welcome to A Friend of Mine, a series of conversations with some incredible and inspiring women in business from regional and rural Australia. I'm Kimberley Furness, your host and the founder and editor of Oak Magazine, and I cannot wait to introduce you to some amazing female entrepreneurs who will share with you their experience and knowledge of what it takes to start, grow and scale a successful business. So let me introduce you to a friend of mine. When Bec Connolly became a mum after a difficult fertility journey, she knew she didn't want to return to full-time work. A qualified skin therapist, Bec set up a therapy room in her home in Geelong in 2015. However, it wasn't long before the self-confessed skin nerd was taking the next steps and formulating products of her own. It was a long process of finding a small batch manufacturer, and Bec was told countless times that she was just a mum with a hobby. But she persisted and launched her very own skincare range, Botanicals by Luxe, in 2018. Bec shares with us the why behind her business, the manufacturing process, creating an Instagrammable brand, engaging influencers and ambassadors, her experience with anxiety and the importance of self-care. We also speak about miscarriage, and for some, this may be difficult to listen to. If so, you might want to skip this episode or move through it mindfully. And now, let me introduce you to my friend Bec from Botanicals by Luxe. Hello, Bec, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. It has been so long in the making, I feel, having you on a podcast or some way involved with Oak.
Yes, I know we've been talking for a long time, haven't we? I just have been following your journey and loving what you're doing. And yeah, we just, I guess, became friends over Instagram, didn't we?
We did. I would actually call you one of sort of those first founding Oak cheerleaders, to be honest. Yeah, so you've always been on the radar. I think for us, everything's just aligned for this one.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, you know, we've just both been obviously flat out and the stars have aligned and here we are.
They have. Now, you are based in Geelong. Our issue 9 front cover, Alira, is from Geelong. We have a couple of other Geelong features in the mag and recently spoke to Celeste and Sarah from Natural Supply Co. So I just feel like we're on a Geelong train at the moment.
I know. I actually was reading issue 9 in the bath a couple of nights ago and I was loving how many Geelong faces I saw. It was fabulous. And even Joe from Pink Nade is from Warrnambool and I'm from Warrnambool. It's just like a good country kind of, women in business. I think it's just fabulous.
It is. Thank you. I absolutely love producing it and just love discovering all these women around. Like I remember with issue 1, I was told by, admittedly it was a guy, so he sort of didn't know the niche and just said, "Oh, are you worried that you're going to run out of stories?" And like, oh, no, that's the least of my problems. But, you know, and how small the world is, like there's always just those like 3 degrees of separation really between you and someone else, isn't there?
For sure. And I think that's the beauty of it too. There's always someone that knows someone. And, you know, even when you're, you know, networking, trying to connect things or trying to go different avenues in your business, I think it works really well.
Yeah, it's definitely an advantage. So before we go off on all those different tangents, let's take it back a little. Can we get to the backstory? Like, how did you come to launch Botanicals by Luxe?
Yeah, so I've been a skin therapist for 16 years now, which does make me feel quite old. I promise I'm only 34, but I did, straight out of high school, like I was doing a traineeship and all of that kind of thing. And I knew that I always wanted to be doing skin and doing products and that kind of thing. But I guess I always just put the products kind of thing in the too hard basket. So I started up I was working in salons and spas and things like that. And then we decided we had a really tough time getting pregnant and hanging on to our babies. We went through lots of fertility treatment and lots of miscarriages and things like that. And when we finally got pregnant with Ollie, who is now 6.5, my husband and I were like, it's time to do something for ourselves. And I really wanted to stay home, be a stay-at-home mum, but also working. I didn't want to lose that as well. So we decided to start up Luxe on Chester, which was a home skin salon. It's been put on the back burner at the moment because, as you know, you can't do everything. But we did that for a good 4 or 5 years, and it was booked out, a couple of months in advance, and was fabulous. And then when little Jack came along, he is 4, and I thought, right, it's time to give this product thing that's been niggling at the back of my brain for a long time to give it a crack. So I, started to research manufacturers in Australia and all of that kind of thing, and it was that hard. I just kept getting knocked back, and I got told countless times by manufacturers, no, you're just a mum with a hobby and that kind of thing. And I'm so glad that I am determined and passionate and just kept on trying, because I finally found, our small batch manufacturer here in Australia and still work with them today. So, I guess I wanted to fill a little bit of a gap in the market of a skincare that is, Australian, vegan, natural, but also results driven, and also created by someone who has that background in skin as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, to look from the outside in, it does look very easy, and then it just happens. And it's, I think, because, we've got the highlight reels everywhere and we have really good PR that tells us that story. But the fact that you got knocked back so many times, and just that resilience to keep coming, keep going, keep trying, because that was what I was going to ask. How hard is it to create your own skincare line?
Yeah, it's ridiculously hard. And yes, from the outside, it looks easy. It looks like I'm just playing around with some products, and then I release a new one, and then I release a new one, and that sells out. And, I understand that from the outside, it does look easy, but it's really, really not. So to find, that small batch manufacturer, it took me, I reckon, close to a year to find someone who would take me seriously and give me a bit of a go, I suppose. And then, I have a cosmetic chemistry background with the beauty therapy diploma that I did. There was like units in there and that kind of thing. So I know what needs to go in a product to make it work on the skin and function and all of that kind of stuff, but I don't know how to actually make it. And being from home, gosh, it'd end up with sultanas in it and cornflakes and oh my gosh, like I just would never attempt it. But so I now work with a cosmetic scientist and a cosmetic pharmacist, and that's gets all manufactured with them, but we formulate it together. So
yeah, and right here in Australia, Bec?
Yes, all here in Australia. So everything is done here, and that was one of the things that I really wanted to stay true to. Yes, I could have gone to China and probably got it a lot cheaper and a lot quicker and all of that kind, easier, but it was just one of the things I really wanted to stay true to. And with the botanical side of things, we like to use lots of Australian fruits and flowers and ingredients. So I really, wanted to stick true to that.
So how long does a product take to sort of create from you going to them and saying, okay, I have an idea for a new face cream, to it actually being able to be marketed to your audience?
Some things can take a year. Some things can take, like if they're just sort of tweaking a product, it can take 6 months, probably at the least 6 months. It's lots of going back and forth with ingredients, and then they send me out a batch of samples and I get those out to people to test it. So we don't test obviously on animals or anything. We test on humans and on, real skin. And that's, I think, the benefit. We can see how it works on so many different skins before it actually goes to market. So it takes usually around 6 to 8 months, I presume, around that.
Wow, that's a massive lead time. Whereas me to create a magazine is a couple of weeks. Some of it takes longer, but for me and the designer, it's just so last minute. I couldn't imagine planning something out and waiting a year for it to arrive.
I know, it is frustrating, and especially when you get so close and then you're like, oh, no, I think we just need to tweak that, and then it takes another couple of months, and it's one of those things.
And so I suppose off the back of what you've just said then, have there been products that you've put into production that just haven't hit the mark, like with your audience, with your customers?
everything has hit the mark, and very gratefully everything has sold out as soon as we launch it. But there is one that I'll talk about, which is our sunscreen, and it is super hard to get a clean sunscreen, zinc base, so reflecting the sun's rays rather than being a chemical sunscreen. We launched one in November, it would have been 2019, and it was fabulous. Everyone loved it, but I just wanted to make it a little bit more nourishing on the skin. So we sold out of that probably mid 2020, like I sort of didn't get any more made. And then I thought, I'm just going to tweak it, and we are still tweaking it. Like, it is taking so long. So that's been around 10 months of tweaking so far, and that was already a product that was released. So yeah, like that was probably the only one that I was probably 99% on it, and I like to be 100%, and that's why these things take time. So we're nearly at the final stages of that one now. It's out with the testers and they're all loving it. So it's nearly there, but yeah, it takes a lot of time.
Does. Now I'm just, believe it or not, I actually have your skincare in front of me. So
Oh, do you?
I do. So I have the face oil, I've got the pink mask, and I have the hyaluronic serum.
Yes.
Just looking at that packaging, it's beautiful. It's so simple and understated. I really like that.
Thank you.
So it just looks nice in my bathroom. Do you want to tell me a little bit about how you went about the branding and packaging? Like, was that for you a big part of the process?
Yeah, the big part, I guess, like with a lot of things, was the logo. But our graphic designer, she got it pretty quick. I wanted, as you can see, the little bits of the fruits and flowers on the tree and that kind of thing to kind of reflect what it is. And I really just wanted, that simple aesthetics just to suit everyone's bathroom. And I did want, as funny as it sounds, I wanted an Instagrammable brand so that it looks good, obviously, in photos, and that people will take photos of it and share it, and so it can become recognized.
Yeah. How interesting it is that you just think about business owners 10 years ago, they would not have thought about when creating their branding, how it would look on Instagram.
I know, how
Whereas
ridiculous.
it's crazy. But I was listening to a podcast. I'm fairly sure it was with Lady Brains. Absolutely love the Lady Brains
Me too.
podcast. And it was with the founder of Face Halo, it could have been.
Oh, yes, I listened to that one.
Yeah. But same thing. She was also thinking about Instagram and how that product would look when she was designing which color to go with white or black.
Yeah.
Like,
It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's really interesting. So other marketing tactics, what have you used to drive sales in your business? I mean, is it things like influencers, Facebook advertising, Instagram advertising? What is it?
Yeah, I guess it's a bit of all of that tied in together. So 88% of our business does come from Instagram. So that's why we focus heavily on that. So I think, showing up, as we were talking about that 1% kind of thing, that showing up on Instagram almost every day, just, whether it be giving a bit of an update on stock, whether it be talking about a skin condition, whether it be talking about anything really, and, something local in Geelong or whatever. And I think that showing up on Instagram, educating, building that relationship, building that trust has really helped me. And also with the Geelong community, it's a fabulous community, which we touched on earlier. It's honestly, it is a cliche, that it's that collaboration over competition. Everyone really wants to cheer on everyone's business, and it's just fabulous. So that's really helped us. And also with the Facebook ad, so I'm not tech savvy at all. I'm seriously not tech savvy one bit. But I watched a YouTube video, I reckon it was probably 18 months ago, and I set up these retargeting ads. So you'll be all over it because you're a tech person, but I'm not. And this was so new to me. Anyway, I set up these retargeting ads, $5 a day. So that was retargeting anyone who had been on the website or on Instagram and popping an ad in their feed. And I had no idea how this stuff worked. I set it up and it went gangbusters. And we still run those 2 ads today and still spend $5 a day, and they've just gone crazy.
I suppose the revenue that you make on those clicks as well. I mean, for $5 a day, I'm assuming that you make more than $5 a day in sales on
Yes.
those ads. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been, just the return on those has been crazy. But yeah, mainly Instagram. We've been really lucky with our ambassadors as well. There are some that we do pay, but most of them are just like, it's like we have this team that just wants to share, from the rooftops, and especially when they find a product that works and find out it's a small business and a family business and that kind of thing. When people share, it's just amazing.
Yeah, I do feel like people are becoming more supportive of regional, rural, small business owners as well, and that you really do have to. I mean, it's a community that can help you enormously. And I always say if you can just share the product on your stories or do a shout out or whatever it is, it's not just a happy dance we do, is it, Bec?
For sure. Like there's that meme when you buy from a small business, a real person does a happy dance. And it is seriously true. It's, you walk into one of the big department stores and they don't care if you spend $200. But when we get $200 of orders, you're like, oh my God, yay. Like it's actually makes a difference in people's lives, small business. So
It
I think
does.
it's so important.
It does a huge difference. You were just talking about having ambassadors and paid ambassadors. I just don't feel none of us talk about this, and it's always a question I would love to know. How do you figure out how much to pay them, or like how does that work for you?
It's one of those tricky things. Most influencers and things like that will have like management, like a team of management that they will send you their rates and things like that. We tend to work with the smaller influencers, I find, like more than micro influencers, so around sort of 10 to 30,000 followers. But I think the micro ones have a lot more trust in their community and it works so well.
Yeah, just thinking to spell check the Instagram account.
Oh,
Have you?
yes.
Yeah. Which has just been hilarious. I mean, she's closed her account now, but has been hilarious in, you have these really big influencers that are raving about skincare products and all the packaging is still on or
Yeah,
don't
it's
even use
ridiculous.
it.
I know. And that's what I always say to anyone that I send a product to, which we don't do it very often, but when we do, we'll say, please use the product for at least a month. See what your skin see if your skin likes it. And if it does like it, then let's either work together or then, we'd love you to share. But there's no way that I would be like, oh, let's just organise something before you've even tried it. I just think that authenticity needs to be there. And I think you can see through those giant influencer posts, that, oh, is she really using that? And then, yeah, as you see, the packaging's still on or the bottle's full or whatever. It's funny.
It is. It is. I just wish we'd come up with another word for them. I
I
feel like
know.
influencers have been tainted now because, as you said, there are genuine ones out there, especially those micro or around those 10 to 30,000 ones. So if someone's listening and they have a product, if you can establish that relationship first, I think that's really important to have a relationship and then go from there. Can you look back on your business over the last, we'll just take Botanicals by Luxe, so just the product. So look back over the last, you turn 3 next week, so the last 3 years. Can you see those moments which just change the trajectory of your business? Like, those big boom moments?
Yeah, I think the main one, so we launched just with our hyaluronic serum that you've got sitting in front of you. We had 200 units of that one. And I remember saying to Mum, you are going to be getting serums for the rest of your life for your birthday and Christmas. Surely they're not going to sell. We didn't even have a website. So I know,
Really?
looking back, it's crazy, but we were just doing it through Instagram DM for like 4 months and they sold out in 12 hours. So that was a real moment for me. And I was like, gosh, I think this is going to work. And I think that we can build on this and grow this. And I just remember packing those orders and getting everyone's like them sending out my bank details so that they could transfer the money. It was ridiculous. And to think that was only 3 years ago, like, I don't know. I think I was scared to put a website live. I don't know why looking back, but we all start somewhere. And yeah, it was just, that was a moment where I was like, okay, I feel that this is going to work. I'm going to really back myself. Not that I wasn't backing myself, but I don't know, as you've spoken about in previous episodes, it's that imposter syndrome. It is, you just feel like, oh, why would people buy my product? And why, we're just a little family from home in Newtown. Like, why would people spend their money on that and that kind of thing? So yeah, there was definitely that doubt, but then that proved me wrong, I suppose.
Oh, wow. So you have a website now.
Yes.
You have remarketing set up, which is brilliant because I got served an ad as well when I've been looking at your website, which is fantastic. Well done. And then I suppose, what have you built your website on? Like, which platform did you go with?
Shopify.
Yeah, it's so super simple, isn't it?
So simple. And yeah, as I said, for a not tech person like me, it's been fabulous. I actually got it tweaked. So we set the website up and kind of just left it for, I guess, 2.5 years. And just recently in February, I went to the girls at Meet the Mentors and they tweaked it for me and just, I guess, freshened it up. And yeah, I love it. So yeah, it's one of those things, being a small business owner, as you know, you wear so many different hats and so many, you're doing the stock, you're doing the accounting side of things, you're doing the marketing, then you're doing all the school pickup, and there's just so many things. So it was just, left alone for quite a while, but it's really good now.
Yeah, you mentioned the word mentors just then. Do you have a business mentor? Have you used one in the past?
No, I don't have a business mentor. I have yet. So the Meet the Mentor girls did my website refresh, so I spoke to them, but I haven't. That was sort of for a few hours, but I haven't. Yeah, had an actual mentor. I would like to, I think, though. I think it would be really beneficial. And to people who are sort of starting up business, I'm often saying, I think it would be really helpful getting someone from the outside, not just your mum or not just your husband and things like that, someone that actually has that business brain and yeah, to have a look over things and to help you bounce ideas off and that kind of thing. I think it'd be really beneficial.
Yeah, I definitely do too. I think we get to a stage where you just know you need one. Now, this sometimes is just a slip of the tongue when we say, oh, we're looking forward to this and the team are doing that.
Yes.
You've said we a lot.
Yeah.
Who is we? Do you have a team?
Well, I have a team of my husband and myself. And yeah, my husband, he was working full-time up until July 2020, so middle of COVID, middle of lockdown and everything. And I just couldn't do the business on my own anymore. And our accountant and, we were looking at everything and she said, he just needs to be working for the business. And he was really wanting to as well. He was wanting to, not just be on the sideline anymore, wanted to be a real part of it as well. So yes, it is NATO, my husband, and I full-time in the business. We also do have Bettina, she was a mother's group friend who puts all of the labels on our products for us. And that is it.
Oh, but still, how nice of him to want to step into the business with you.
Yeah,
That
I
is
mean,
brilliant.
you know what it's like with your husband. You're bouncing ideas off them all the time anyway, and they are a part of it. Even if it's not official, they are a part of it. And I think, yeah, it's been fabulous having him and just being able to share the load and yeah, fully do it together. And our dream was to make it a family business, but obviously financially it was too hard at the start and wouldn't work at the start. But now, yeah, it can, and it's wonderful.
Oh, it's so exciting for you. Now, COVID, what sort of impact did that have on your business? Because I know the skincare industry really boomed over those lockdowns. I mean, a lot of us started to, there's nothing much else to do, to look after our skin. We weren't wearing as much makeup, which is always great to let it breathe. But yeah, really started looking at the skincare that we were putting on. So yeah, how was COVID for your business?
Yeah, for the business, it was fabulous. We are very grateful, and I know how hard, obviously, it was for most people. So we feel extremely fortunate. But NATO had to resign in the middle of COVID to step in because we were that busy. And I think, there's a couple of things. People, as you say, were doing the self-care side of things. We were at home. People's maybe mental health was struggling, so they're trying to look after themselves, trying to do that self-care side of thing. But there also was a lot of new skin conditions coming out as well. So with wearing the masks and things like that, people were getting what we dubbed as maskne. So the acne around the mask area and, dermatitis around the mouth from having a mask on all day. Also stress breakouts as well. There was so many different things happening. So it made us, really busy for that side of things too. So for the business, COVID was really great. We did have a lot of issues with stock because some of our manufacturer couldn't get a lot of our 50 ml bottles because big companies were buying them to put hand sanitizer in. So there was, a few things like that. We had to use black containers instead of white for a few months because we couldn't get the white. So there was a few things like that, but they're just things that happen in businesses. And I thought, well, there's no point being sold out for 3 months. We might as well just use a black bottle. It's exactly the same product inside. And I just was really open with our customers and our clients and just said, this is the way it is. We're either out of stock for a few months because there's no stock available, or we just have a black bottle, and everyone was fine. So,
Communication is key, I think.
100%. And I think that honesty and, that transparency, I think it's really important. And I think that's why, people do trust us.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to, it's not black lids, yours is a bit more important, but my labels on all the orders that went out, we're the same. We do everything in-house, all the kids, like I've got 4, so they all line up like a little production line.
I love it.
So our stickers are generally crooked or sometimes they're upside down or yes, it drives me insane, but at the same time, it gets things done. And I love to involve them in the business because otherwise it's like office door shut and we're not together. Whereas this way, I don't know, they feel like they play a part in
we're
it
the
all.
same. Like my boys will fold boxes for me and they'll put products on the shelf. And I think that's actually, it is good. I often joke, it's a bit of e-commerce work before school and stuff like that. But I think it is good. It's good to see, that it is the business and you have to do work and that kind of stuff. And they love it too. Like I'm sure your kids do. It's a bit of fun.
They do. The eldest is cottoned on. He's nearly ready to go for a job. So he's asking if he can put his experience on a resume. I'm like, mate, you have a drink break every 10 minutes. This is going to have to change. So,
Oh dear, funny.
Oh, they are. So obviously COVID was fantastic for your business, which is great. But I suppose what I love about you and your products, Bec, is that you have that industry experience along with the product that I know I did it to you. I sent you a DM and said, hey, Bec, this is what my skin is. Do you just want to tell me what 3 products I need? I'm so lazy. And you did. You just shot it back and got it to a T as well. So they're absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
Now, business is all-consuming. I mean, are you the same? Do you think about it sort of 24/7?
Yeah, for sure. And look, being from home, it's fabulous. And people often say to me, oh gosh, you're going to need a warehouse soon. And yes, we will. We are definitely outgrowing our space. But I do want to keep it at home for as long as possible. Just the flexibility is amazing, but it definitely is all consuming. I'll pack some orders before breakfast in my dressing gown. Then, we'll do the school drop off. Then we'll pack some more orders. And then I'll pack some at, 9 o'clock at night before I go to bed just to catch up from those few hours. So it definitely, I've been working on getting a bit of a balance and putting boundaries in place. And you know what it's like. You get DMs at 10 o'clock at night and I like to reply straight away, but I've been trying not to because, you're still a business. Yes, you're very approachable and communication's good and customer service is good, but, no big business is going to reply at 10 o'clock at night. So I think, putting those boundaries in place is something that I have been working on and am still working on, but it's one of those things. I think there's pros and cons, especially from being at home, but I do think that the pros outweigh the cons for us.
Yeah, definitely. I went and got an office a couple of years ago. Same thing. I just wanted to get out of home and thought that that would be also, I would look more professional doing that as well.
Yes, yeah,
Um, but honestly, it was actually so hard because you're right. When you're at home, work and personal life sort of do melt into each other.
for
You might
sure.
be cooking tea and then you can jump in for an hour and do some work, sit back out, watch a TV show with the husband, and then come back in before bed. Whereas I found I couldn't do that with the office. I couldn't go back into the office and work late, and I actually didn't enjoy it in that hour. And when the kids are sick, you can be at home and work. Whereas,
Yes.
I'd be dragging them into the office, taking all the food, putting shows on. And sometimes I
Yeah,
feel like, do you think that it's that whole, if we have a warehouse or if we have an office, we're seen as bigger and better and more professional?
possibly.
When
Yeah,
there's,
I think, it does sound really good, but I think, yeah, I just know for us, I just want to keep it here for as long as we can. I mean, there's nothing that's going to change. I can go and have meetings at a cafe, or people can come here. Like, yes, it's an old house, but I mean, it's fine. So I think, yeah, it does sound more professional, but yeah, as you say, I'd be dragging Jack. The 4-year-old goes to kinder twice a week, but I would be, dragging him there on the other days. Whereas now he can, play his Lego right next to me. And I don't know. I think for us at the moment at home, it is the best for us.
it works, it works. Now, I've obviously done a little bit of stalking before our podcast interview.
Mhm.
And I came across a podcast and some articles where you spoke a little bit more about the personal side. So not so much the business, but your relationship with anxiety and where that's come from. Also, making self-care a priority. So how people can do that at home. So I thought we might unpack that as well. I feel like our audience, well, don't feel like, I know our audience are women, and I feel that they would get great value from what you have to share, Bec. So could you sort of take us through that relationship with anxiety, where that's come from and how that impacts your life?
Yeah. So before having the kids, my oldest Ollie, as I said, is 6.5. Before having the kids, I never had anxiety, nothing at all, like nothing. Looking back now, I was like, wow, that was really cruisy, wasn't it? And when we brought Ollie home from the hospital, I was sitting on the edge of my bed and I said to Nato, I think I'm having a heart attack. We need to go back to the hospital. And I thought, gosh, I must have just lost too much blood or something, like something's going on. And anyway, so we went back into the hospital. Ollie was like 2 days old. And they said, they put like all the heart monitors, the ECG on and all that kind of thing. And they said, you're having a panic, like an anxiety panic attack. And I was like, oh my God, I had never had anything like it before. I literally thought that I was dying because my heart, I couldn't, yeah, it was crazy. And that was just fear, basically. My anxiety is around health. So we did go through lots of really quite traumatic miscarriages. We had twins fall out on the floor. It was really, really, really hard. And I'm fine about it now, but it is still that fear of losing my children. So I guess just bringing Ollie home, and I just thought that it wasn't gonna, like, I don't know, I thought that he was going to be gone. So that's what the fear is. And it is still there, during the middle, like, so I'm not medicated or anything like that. I can look after it, but it does peak, definitely. So in the middle of COVID, I was in the bath and I must have been on Facebook looking at a million articles and the numbers of COVID and all that kind of stuff, like we were all doing. And all of a sudden, I just had this panic attack. So I just yelled out to Nato. He had to pull me out of the bath, and I felt like I couldn't breathe. It was awful, and it was just that fear that we're all going to die. So looking back now, it sounds silly, but that's what was, yeah, mine is about fear and about health. And it has been, yeah, it's been pretty hard. So I do see a psychologist to chat about things and to just learn coping mechanisms and that kind of stuff. I do meditation every night. I do a little bit of journaling as well. So if I'm feeling like I'm starting to go downhill a little bit, I'll just write down what I'm feeling. And I think sometimes when you put it on paper, you can see it's okay. I don't know. Sometimes when you get it out of your head and onto paper, it helps. So, yeah, I definitely do still struggle with it, but I am, learning to cope with it a lot better.
Yeah, my gosh. It's not silly at all, Bec, any of those feelings, I don't think.
Oh, I know, but you sort of, when you haven't had that before, you're sort of like, oh my God, what is going on?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like I remember, during that panic attack sort of stage in COVID, I actually was ringing Beyond Blue, not because I was depressed or anything. I've never had depression, but I was just so full of fear, and it was really debilitating. So they actually had a coronavirus anxiety chat line. So obviously there was lots of people struggling, and they were fantastic. So I think that's something that I would like to share is you don't need to be, at your lowest of low to call those kind of places. They can just really help you through those times where you're feeling not quite right, and you just need to have a chat to someone who knows what they're talking about and who can help you with those coping strategies.
yeah. And I just feel it's so important to talk to professionals as well. I just feel that probably over the last maybe 5 years, I've realized how many friends and new friends that you find and you get talking, how many actually see someone, a professional, and talk about what's happening in their lives. And I'm grateful for that, because then, there's professional advice. They can give you tools and tactics and things to help you through those periods. And as you said, by no means is it a sign of weakness or, there's strength in battling on and getting through things. It's so important to get it off our chest, to get it,
Yes, so
talk
important.
it
And I
out.
think, talking to a professional too. It's not, when I first booked in, which, was the middle of last year, I was so nervous and I thought, gosh, what a failure. I can't even, I'm just worried about this thing that's not, I don't know. When you're in your rational brain, you know that everything's going to be fine. But when you're in that anxiety brain, it is just wild. So I did. I felt like a failure. And it was the same feeling that when we couldn't get pregnant and couldn't hold on to those babies, I felt like a failure. So it's so silly. And I know that I'm not a failure, but those feelings they are valid, and it is something that can come up. And I know that a lot of people feel the same. So I think, talking, and if you can't see a psychologist, then talking, bouncing ideas off other people, talking to those chat lines. I think it's just important to talk.
Yeah, those chat lines are there for a reason.
Yeah.
Those people are brilliant at what they do. You talk about self-care and making that a priority. So you obviously meditation and journaling. Is there any other tips for people to implement self-care into their daily routine?
Yeah, so I think it just needs to be little things. And I know we all get that mum guilt when we go and do things for ourselves and that kind of stuff. But I think it's important, even if you can just go out to your backyard on the grass in bare feet and do a bit of grounding and that kind of thing, 5 minutes. It's not like you're leaving or anything. It's just to make yourself a bit calm, going for a walk around the block, putting your headphones on, just simple things. It doesn't need to be a girls' weekend away every month or anything like that, as lovely as that may be. But I think it's just little things that we can add in, downloading the Smiling Mind app, which is the one I use for meditation, and just doing those little bits and pieces, ducking off for a bath when you can, putting some essential oils in the bottom of the shower just to make yourself feel nice. And I think it's just about taking those little bits of time when you can.
Yeah, definitely. I know that I picked up the magazine last Thursday. Again, it was a 5-hour round trip with my nan who's 83. If anyone has a nan in their 80s, they know their stories are told 3 times over.
Yeah.
When you're in a closed environment, there's no way to escape. And got home and obviously just had a ton of orders to fill. But I ended up taking the daughter to soccer training and taking my shoes off and just putting my feet on the grass. And I cannot tell you, just that feeling of grounding. And I think I might have done a little moan, like a little, oh God, this is good,
Yes,
like
I
just
know.
finding moments, put the phone away and obviously I don't know if I was watching her per se, but just sitting there and enjoying that last bit of autumn afternoon sun, and just my feet on the ground. It
I
was
know, it is
so
so nice.
good.
Do you know, the first time I actually did grounding, I was someone told me to do it, and I was like, oh, this sounds a bit
I know.
weird. Anyway, so I went and did it, and I stood on a bloody bee and got bitten by a bee. So it wasn't the best start to my grounding experience, but it does feel a bit weird, but I think it's a really good tool to be able to do anywhere.
It doesn't come with a warning label, really, does
No,
it?
it doesn't.
Beware of bees. Make sure there's nothing in. I
No
mean, it's
thistles or anything like that, but I think it is good.
Oh my gosh! Thank you so much for sharing that, Bec. I know that people are going to listen, and it only takes one person, doesn't it, to hear that? Someone that needed to hear it and make a change. So
Absolutely, yeah.
lovely. Now, switching gears completely, if you could have one business wish granted, if I was a business genie, what would it be right now?
Well, I'm actually, going with those boundaries and things like that. I'm trying to automize things a little bit more. So I would love, please, Business Genie, a skin quiz on our website. I'm trying to set one up,
Oh,
and it is really, really hard. So
yeah.
could do that.
Oh,
That'd be
that's
fabulous.
amazing.
Yeah,
Wow.
I
Good on
want,
you.
a skin quiz, and I will, like, I'm looking. It will get done, but it's just one of those things that sits in the open tab and doesn't get touched for a few days, and then So it's going to be, people plug in their skin type, their concerns, and that kind of thing, and then it will pop up with what products that I would recommend for them. So I think it will just be a really good tool.
Yeah, that would be an amazing tool.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. That would save all those people like Kimberley who DM you.
Oh my gosh, no, I love that. That's absolutely fine. But I think it's just, when people are like, I have dry skin, what do I need? If they
Yeah,
don't have
yeah,
an actual full concern or anything, I think it will really help.
yeah. And something that I haven't shared, I study beauty therapy as well. So,
Did
and
you?
have worked in a Melbourne day spa, which was amazing. So I was being very lazy, Bec. I could have picked out my products myself, but I'm like, no, Bec's the expert. She'll tell me what
Yes,
I need.
that's
Yeah.
fine. And that's what I'm here for too.
Two more questions and then I'll let you go to pack all the hundreds of orders I know you have that
Oh
you share on
gosh,
the
yes,
gram.
I know.
But I know that there'd be some beauty therapists that maybe are finishing beauty therapy school or what have you. Do you have some advice for them? I just feel that personally, I think that working in another business, working in a salon is so imperative in all different industries before you go out on your own. Would you agree, Bec?
Absolutely. So when I first started, there wasn't any traineeships or anything like that. So I contacted a couple of day spas that I wanted to work at and asked if they would create a traineeship for me. And I was lucky enough they did. I think that working on the job while you're learning is so amazing. You learn things that they can't teach you at school, things, like time management, people skills, building relationships, speaking to people. It's so important, and just getting that experience is fabulous. So even if you're nearly finished your training, I would highly recommend just going around to salons rather than just sending an email. Go in so they can see your face and see how you talk, and know that you are keen and that kind of thing. I think that is so important. And just ask them if you can, work there on a Thursday night, even if you do it for free for a couple of hours, just to get that experience, I think is so important. And just go for it. Sell yourself, because you're in the industry for a reason, so you can offer value to that business. I think it's important to go in and just take that little leap and give it a go.
One thing I took out from the beauty industry working in the day spa was procedure manuals. We're all doing the same process,
Yes.
which is something that, you can apply to any job then. It's like, no, this is the process. These are the ingredients per se
Yep.
that we need. And then this is, I suppose, how we mix them. And this is, what is it? I can't even remember a recipe. See, I don't spend a
Yeah,
lot of
like the
time in the
method.
kitchen. The methods.
Yes.
My husband is in the kitchen more than me. We've obviously got our ingredients and this is our method. And I just think that can be applied to any business. It's that whole consistency that is sometimes what comes through as successful.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, working on the job while you're learning is just that experience that you cannot learn.
No, definitely not. So, finally, can you tell me about a friend you have that we all need to know about?
Oh my goodness. So you need to know about Jane. She is our accountant, and she is not a boring accountant. She is amazing. Her name is Jane. She works at Bromley Phillips, which is her own firm here in Geelong. And she specialises in small business. So I don't know a lot about money or structures of a business and that kind of thing. And look, when we first started, it was a hobby, so I didn't have to worry too much about it. But obviously things have grown. So I said to Jane, who was actually a client of mine, I said, Jane, I need to become a client of yours and I need some help. And she has been an accountant for something like 20 years or something, like a long time. And she just knows her stuff inside out. She makes you feel so comfortable in what you're doing. And she is just fabulous. She specializes in small business and basically kind of holds your hand through the money stuff because it can be scary. So, and not knowing, you need to put things in the right places. So she's fabulous. So she is my friend who you all need to know about.
Oh my gosh, Jane can be my friend too then.
Yeah, she's amazing. Honestly, I tell everyone about Jane. She is fabulous.
Accountants, it's such an imperative part of owning a business, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's the one thing you've got to get right from the start. So.
And having a good one who can, be on your team. I think it's important to build a team around you in business and, have people that you I guess employ to work on your side. So, she's great.
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you so much, Bec, for being a guest on the podcast. I also want to thank the dog next door for doing such a fantastic job of having its voice heard. So if you can hear the dog in the background, my apologies, nothing I can do about it. But thank you so much, Bec. And I really do hope to get to Geelong very soon. I mean, we should just organise a date so I can come and
we
explore.
Totally should.
Yeah,
absolutely. I would love that.
Good. I need a little day. I need a weekend away, actually. So that sounds perfect.
Why not?
Yes. So thank you, Bec. And all the best with your business.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Now, before you take off with all that inspiration and knowledge, we'd love for you to leave a review on our podcast so that we can continue to amplify women's voices in the media. And if you have any questions, we'd like to celebrate a win, you can always connect with us on Facebook and Instagram at Oak Magazine AU. I'm so glad we've met and that now you know a friend of mine.